It's been a thing that's been growing on me gradually over time. I've always been very sort of like open-minded about music, and of course, my biggest successes were in trance, and therefore I've always been put in this trance category. But my interest in music goes way beyond that. It goes from ambient to drum and bass and to whatever is in between. Um, and I've always loved the sort of like the darker side, the deeper side of that stuff. But what I really love about that sound that is happening right now is that it still has that big sort of melodic element to it. And I've always been, you know, heavily influenced with big melodies and by big melodies, and that's sort of like my signature thing in my music anyway. So another thing is that with the, and I say this with the utmost respect, but the current sound of pure trance stuff is not cutting it for me. It's not doing it. It's the same. It's been the same for 7, 8 years. It's not moving forward, and so it's time for me to step away from even that sound altogether and just get some of the influences, but bring it into the stuff that does excite me, and that's what I'm doing right now. I wanted to go for a bit of a darker, deeper track. It's going to be part of the album that will be released sort of like first quarter next year. And I really wanted to go for like I said, a darker track, but I can never make a track without a certain strong little hook. So it has a very sort of present sort of melodic vibe to it. But the cool thing was that it has a vocal in there in the break, which is completely, it doesn't exist. It's completely AI, everything about it. So I came up with the word mind trip, and I asked AI, can you write me something about mind trip? And I got like this whole text, all kinds of stuff about a mind trip. So I pieced bits and pieces together into this story, and I went to another app that generated the voice, and here we go. I edited and did some tuning on certain accents on the vocal, to make it really work with the track. And yeah, it's just this cool little behind the scene sort of thing that went into this process. The sound, like I said earlier, it's going to be pretty diverse, because that's where I am right now. I love the darker stuff. I love the more upbeat stuff, but not like how it's been for the last 7, 8 years. So it's there's an influence of everything in there. There's breaks, there's rave stuff, there's house, there's techno, there's trance. It's very, very diverse. A collab, one of the collabs I can say is that Cubicore, who's is like a new artist on our label. He's a very successful guy from Ukraine. He's gonna be on there on the album, and there's gonna be a few other pretty interesting collabs, but I need to keep that under the wraps still. But yeah, I mean, we are going to build out the album as we go, more and more so, towards the release at the end of the beginning of next year. Yeah. Yeah, some of the challenges are all, especially doing so many different genres. One big question is like, if you do so many genres and you go really left and right, what's in there that is yours, that's really you? And I don't know. I've done it over the years. I've done different stuff, and everybody always, even if I tried to hide it that it was me at first, people always said, "Oh, that's Ferry." So I guess there's a signature thing in the way I make my music, the way I lay down my chords, the way I come up with the melodies that makes it me. Um, Doing another genre that's slightly out of your comfort zone is always a little tricky. Is it good enough? Is it legit in that genre? Or am I a trance producer making other genres? You know, that's always a bit of a battle that you have to fight. Um, and the best way to just overcome that is just like, you know, F it. It's just do what you like, do what you feel best about, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, hey, next track. Yeah, it's pretty hard to, uh, to 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 pick the tracks that you want to play. So from, you know, from my own music, I mean, it's easy to always go to the sure shots, right? The big ones that everybody knows. But I played it all the time. So sometimes it's nice to dig in and get those tracks that people have forgotten, maybe, you know, and play those again. I mean, luckily I do the What the F shows, which is open to close with just only my music. So, you know, people really hear all the tracks that they have forgotten. Also, like, oh my God, like this one, right? But when I play, let's say I play a festival and I want to play 2 or 3 tracks of myself that that are older, yeah, it's always I need to be careful not to just grab the same ones all the time. Yeah. Current state of electronic music, the scene, I think it's very healthy at the moment. You know, every genre is borrowing from each other, which is always cool. I love it. Because it brings forward like new type of genres, almost subgenres. So I really love it when that's really happening. And nowadays that's really happening. There was a time where everyone's just so stuck in their own little genre, and it's cool what's happening right now. Where it will go, I don't know. Out of this will come the next big thing, you know, and that's the crystal ball or whatever the wind does. I don't know. I think there's no one more important than the audience at an event. I mean, you know, the DJ is only as important as the audience that receives that sound or their performance. If the DJ plays the best set in the world, but the audience is like, you know, it's not good. You know, and if a DJ plays a shitty set and the audience is going off, it's an amazing set. So I think the audience is really leading in you know, in this whole thing, and yeah, and when I say we, it's like producers, DJs seem to forget that sometimes. You know, we just play there for ourselves, and this is a cool track, and especially when someone says like need to educate the crowd, it's like yeah, okay, you know, otherwise they all always want to hear the same thing. I get that, but yeah, the party wouldn't be a party if there's a vibe made by the audience. Yeah. The worst advice I've been given is probably by some A&R back in the day, like, oh, you gotta make music like. Why would I make music like? That is already there. I want to make music like me, you know. And I think that might be a good advice for everybody. You know, don't always trust the A&R. You know, trust yourself, and if you can bring your signature sound to the world, then bring your signature sound. A copy of another track is not gonna bring anybody anywhere. Yeah. Yeah, apart from, you know, Ferry Corsten, I also have my other the other side of what I do. It's called Fair, and it's more like the ambient cinematic type of stuff. The last album was 2020. It's called As Above, So Below, and I'm, you know, as I'm working on the Ferry Corsten album right now, I'm also, every once in a while I hit like a little brain sort of thing, like, oh, and I come up with some really cool ambient bits, which I put aside. So I'm secretly also on the side working on a new Fair album. That's probably gonna be for next year as well. Yeah. To everyone listening to Ibiza Live Radio, great to be back again on the island, and tonight at Shine in Eden. I hope to see most of you guys there, or if not all.